Talk about solving problems with the Titanic Dataset. And in the last couple videos, we took a look at filter and map. And let's apply those here. So the second problem here is find all the passengers that survived. So if we get the Titanic data here, every passenger has a survived property, and the value is either yes or no, right? So what we're going to do is we're going to filter all the passengers on that property. So I want the survivors, so I want the property to be equal to yes. So I'll say data.filter, and filter will take a function, and this function, the callback function here takes a passenger as a parameter. I'll call it P, and then it's going to return true if we want to include that passenger, or false if we don't. So I'm going to say p.fields.survived equals yes. Okay, now the number of passengers, like I need a number here, number of surviving passengers. So this is going to be an array of surviving passengers. So I'm going to tack on .length, right? Because I just want the number. So that would count the number of passengers now. Okay, so let's save that and we'll run our tests again. So I'll pull up my test suite here, I'll clear it and run the tests again. Oh, great, so I got the survivor count is now checked off. So let's try the next one. So I want to get the casualty count. So you can go ahead and try that on your own. Otherwise you can watch the video and I'll walk through the solution. And the solution is, basically we're going to do the same thing here, except instead of yes, we're going to look for a no, okay? And then we can run that one in our test suite, right? Oh, great, so the casualty count is working, okay? So the next problem here asks how many passengers are in a particular passenger class. And what this function is going to receive is the data array and the passenger class as a string or a number, right? So the passenger classes are numbers. They're like 1, 2, 3, I think. And so, this value, what we want to do is match it against each passenger here. So again, we can use filter. So I'm going to say data.filter the passenger. And then what I want to do is only return passengers where their passenger class matches this value. So we'll say passenger.fields.pclass equals pclass, right? So this pclass is on the passenger object, and this pclass was passed into the function. And again, we want to return the number of passengers. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put .length, because really I just want the length of the array. Okay, so I'll save that. We can run it again in the console here and check out our tests. It's kind of satisfying when you start checking these off, right? So that one worked, right? So now let's try the next one here. So this is survivor count for a particular passenger class. So what we want here is we want the number of survivors in that class. So now we have to test for two things. So not only are we looking for the passenger class, but we're also looking for passengers who survived. So you could break this down into two problems. You could filter on the survivors first and then filter those on the passenger class, or you could do both in the same step, okay? I'm not saying like one is better than the other. It's kind of like almost the same thing, though maybe it would be one less loop through the data if you did it at the same time. So it might be a little bit more efficient that way, but for us that doesn't matter. But we'll give it a try like that, okay? So I'm going to say data.filter, and I'll get a passenger here. And what I want is I want a passenger whose fields survived equals yes, and the double ampersand means the left side has to be true and the right side has to be true for the whole statement to be true. So what we'll do is we'll say p dot fields dot p class equals p class. Let me make this like a little bit bigger there. Maybe that'll help you read that, right? So there we go. So let's give that a try and see what happens here. So I'll run my tests there. Oh, great. So passenger count in class looks like it's working, right? So now let's get the survivor count for class. Oh, wait, maybe that one didn't work. It looks, maybe I made a mistake there. Let me check. And we can actually, that's actually good for us. Let's check. Oh, because it says received, it expected 136, but it received object, 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 object. So I made a mistake here. Can you figure out my mistake? Okay, yeah. I forgot to put the dot length on the end, right? Because we want, again, we want the number here. We don't want an array of the passengers. We want just the count, right? So I'll put length on the end. And we'll clear this and give it another try. Oh yeah, there we go. Get survivor count for class. So it worked that time. So let's get the casualty count. So I'll leave that one up for you to try, but it'll be very similar to this one. Okay.